Hello and welcome to everyone accompanying us in the newest episode of Pier-to-Pier Podcast, where we bring those who reside within these virtual worlds to share the stories and knowledge that they carry. Tonight at the Pier, I have somebody here who we might have a bit of a debate on a topic we both like. And no, it's not going to be fighting against a certain topic. It's just because we both like this thing so much, I felt like, heck, this might make for a really good conversation. About what? About metal. Tonight at the Pier, I have with me Dendark. Dendark, welcome to the Pier.
What's up, Dendark? You can call me Den. I don't care. Let's get right into the metal. I want to talk about metal.
Nah, before we get straight into the nitty-gritty of it, I want you to introduce yourself to our lovely audience. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
So my name's Den. I've been around the furry fandom for a decent bit. Been in the metal scene for a lot longer. I've been addicted to this stuff for a decent while. Whenever I get into topics about things, it usually comes up to metal, just because it's one of my favorite things. When I've been to furry conventions, stuff like that, they might do some like speed metal stuff. So I've made a lot of friends just talking about metal. Being a furry, I guess. I don't really know. There's not much to talk about myself. I guess I'm a chemical operator at a industrial facility, but not much besides that. I just kind of keep it low profile.
Okay, let's talk music. Let's talk rock. Let's talk metal. What first got you into the genre?
Ooh, what first got me in the genre? Easy answer. I mean, it's Metallica. It's basic. It's basic, but it was Metallica.
Why basic? Why do you say basic? Are you kidding me?
I mean, okay. Everybody knows Metallica. If you get into metal, Metallica is usually going to be the stepping stone to you getting into metal. Because it's so baseline. They have everything for anyone. I mean, hell, their 90s stuff is its own genre completely. It's a very easy band to get into and listen to and then understand what it takes to get into that genre. Like for me, right after Metallica, I started listening to Slayer and Pantera and stuff like that.
Man, that's those are some good groups. Black Sabbath, maybe, as well.
I've heard a couple. I know. I've heard a couple. I'm just more into the aggressive stuff. I really, really like the aggressive stuff. But I guess as of recent, I've kind of swapped that around. I've gone into a little bit more somber, more gothic metal type stuff. But it's mainly aggressive.
Okay. So those are like mentioned some really good groups. There are some groups that, like all those groups that you mentioned, I've listened to tracks. That you have some good taste. Now, was there a specific album or a specific band that changed everything for you, that it just like clicked in your head? Aside from Metallica, which was your gateway into the genre, but was there like an album or a band that just switched something? And you're like, damn.
I know the exact band and album. It was Seasons of the Abyss from Slayer was the thing that really swapped that. Once I heard the riffs, it just stuck in my head. I'm pretty sure the song itself that I'm thinking of would either be War Ensemble or it might have been Seasons of the Abyss. Because both of those songs those go hand in hand for me. Once I listened to those, it really brought up the ante. Like, I need this. I have so much aggression that I can take out just by listening to music.
And have you ever been to one of their concerts? Or any metal concert or tribute? You haven't been to any concert at all? Not even like a tribute at a bar?
I have been to one concert. It was a tribute band to Dragon Force.
Man, please tell me they did justice to Through the Fire and the Flames.
Of course. Oh no, it was amazing. To be fair, I was completely zonked. I had a lot of alcohol in my system, but it was amazing regardless. I remember that was my first reaction to seeing a band like that, especially in front of me, and I got to meet them in person too. They're talking with everybody, and it was at a furry convention too. That was the best part. So I got to have a genuine conversation.
Wait. They did a tribute. They did a metal tribute at a furry convention. But
yes,
was that hosted by the convention, or was that coincidental?
It was an event at the convention. Yeah, it was. What was it? I think it was TFF, Texas Furry Fiesta. In I think it was 2025 last year.
Damn. I mean, I wouldn't think that there would be like such a a very heavy metal in the furry fandom. That right. Is there a big presence?
The exact same thing, but everybody loved it. I've never seen it if you go to a furry convention, you're going to see raves, right? It's going to be a lot of digitized music,
electronic music, exactly. DJs. I can talk to you from experience. I can talk. Furry Week in Atlanta, my first ever convention back in 2024. I was there, and they had Living Tombstone. They had Mystery Skulls. I didn't go to neither because I was so zonked out. I was like tired when they did the concerts. But they had those, and in the gaming area, they had a rock band, and you would not believe the amount of people that would just like play rock band, drums, guitar. People in suits. They would like play like. But, rock, you would understand, like, yeah, everybody listens to rock, everybody listens to pop, but, like, metal? Like, I wouldn't make the connection. Now you tell me
metal, that's the other thing, right?
They made a tribute at a convention for metal. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm trying to remember the band name. I have their album somewhere. Actually, give me a second. I can go find that. All right. So I know the band now. The name of the band is Divine Dragon Cannon.
Divine Dragon Cannon.
Yeah, I think they might be furries themselves, but they have some really neat stuff. Last I saw, whenever I went there, they hadn't even dropped their first album onto Spotify. They were just giving out physical copies of it. So I managed to pick one of those up. It's pretty cool. It's just speed metal through and through. They do Fire in the Flames at the concert, like I said. Everybody was losing their minds. I've never seen more furries up, because like when you go to a rave, it's at a furry convention at least. It's always going to be half and half, where half of the people are in the pit, jumping up and down, having a great time, and then the other half are like sitting down, right? At this concert or like tribute or whatever you want to call it, almost everybody was having a great time. Everybody was in the pit. It was so crowded. There was so much smoke. Somebody had a smoke gun.
That just like, I did not make that connection with the furry fandom at all. I'm very surprised. I mean, I don't know the connotation, but like, I mean, that's really cool. And I do hope that they are furries, because I mean, it'd be really cool to have like a furry metal band. I feel like that needs to be a thing. I mean, I've seen a little bit of everything. You see furry musicians, you see furry DJs. Heck, at Spain's Got Talent, there was furry opera. Like literally people in fursuits playing instruments. Yeah, you should look it up later. Furry opera. And apparently they're a group based around Europe, and it was like revealing, like, wow. And now, like, hey, furry metal, I'm all for it. Why do you think that metal has such a loyal fan base? Like, not only like in the furry community, but like in general.
Honestly, I think the reason why is just because there's a sense of togetherness that you don't get anywhere else whenever it comes to metal. If you look at other genres, there's so many genres now. Like, but there's always that moment where people are saying, can you name off this, or do you like this? And it'll be like, nah, right? But there's a baseline for metal. Everybody's listened to some sort of part of metal that everyone else has listened to. There's a lot of togetherness. And even at the concerts, it's the same thing. I mean, hell, you go into like the mosh. People literally pay to get up to the mosh and get the shit kicked out of them because it's fun. And then right after, everybody's hugging. Everybody's enjoying their time. Everybody's having an amazing time. I think aggressiveness in the music medium kind of brings everybody together in a weird way. I don't really know how to describe that, but it happens.
There's a form of unity at the end of the day. You know, we all like this one collective thing, and people, you know, it's weird. You know, people would think that such aggressive music would cause erratic behavior on people, and I mean, it probably does in some people. Let's be completely honest. I mean, there's probably some people that do, you know, like you hear
Axl
like
Rose.
destruction, pain. What? Axl Rose? You think?
Axl Rose. Have you seen him crash out? Have you seen him crash out at his concerts? He crashes out all the time.
I don't think I have. No.
Oh my god. All right. So in 1992, or I think it was 90. Yeah, it was 92. 92. James Hetfield famously got third-degree burns from pyrotechnics on their set while they were playing Fade to Black. When that happened, he was rushed immediately to the hospital. And Guns N' Roses said, hey, we're going to step up and we're going to finish the rest of the night. We're going to give you the concert you guys paid for. 2 hours go by, nothing. They finally show up. They play for 30 minutes. Axl Rose chucks his microphone down onto the stage, tells everybody to go fuck off, and then walks away. Immediately after that, riot. He got fucking like prosecuted. He like fled the States. It was insane.
That sounds insane. Guess you shouldn't mess with metal fans. You know, they want what
Don't mess
they know
with their
what
money.
they want.
Don't mess with their money.
They know what they want, and if they don't get it, things get nasty.
Yeah.
No, that's probably one of the things that a lot of people maybe misunderstand about metal. You know, they feel like, oh, this music is all about aggressiveness. It's all about worshiping the devil. You know, like we're all gonna be like all of these evil people. We're gonna do like all of these evil deeds. Like I still remember like the one interview they did to AC/DC, where the interview was like, AC/DC. A lot of people think it means Antichrist, Devil's Child. Is it true? And the band members were like, it came from the back of my sister's sewing machine. It's in every piece of electronic. It just means power. Like, people like to overthink, like, metal is such a bad thing, but they tend to be, like, the performers, like, the actual artists behind such as, like, hardcore metal tracks tend to be some of the nicest people. So, why do you think people outside the metal scene misunderstand metal so much?
I think it comes down to what was being put out at certain times. I mean, if you look back into like the 80s, nobody was really doing that. Nobody was really that never struck a mainstream. So whenever it did, it changed. It changed to like there was a dichotomy almost where one side is completely in for it, right? They're loving this. It's the rebellious phase of that era, and the other side didn't grow up with that. I mean, hell, most of them grew up on the Beatles, but they look at that and they think this isn't music. This is devil worshipping type shit. I mean, I'm sure when people heard like Slayer for the first time, they probably thought the same thing. But I mean, hell, like you said, look at Tom Araya. He's a Catholic.
You know, people like to judge before just by seeing than by, you know, actually learning. I mean, we are a society that tends to judge things by, you know, the cover of the book. We shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but by its content. You know, you never know. You never know. I mean, you can back me up on this. You already said that Metallica was like a very diverse group, but like they have like some really, really, really cool tracks. Like, for example, they have One. They have Nothing Else Matters. Oh
I can
man,
name you everything.
you know, you know,
Oh my
like
God,
all
I
of
can
that,
name
all
you
of those
everything.
songs that you could. Oh, go ahead then.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to do that because that would eat up some time. But I will say, I think something that gets completely overlooked is "And Justice for All." That entire album, it has one on it. That album,
Ooh.
yes. "And Justice for All" is probably my favorite Metallica album. If not that, then Death Magnetic. But "And Justice for All" has some of the most complex songwriting I've seen them do. It's a very experimental album. If you listen to interviews around the time, I think Tom Araya and Terry King were talking about that album. It's a very, very experimental album. And it's up to you whether or not you like the mix. I mean, I'm not too big of a fan. There's no bass, and that's why I listen to music, but it still is one of my favorite albums simply because it breaks what you would expect from metal, which is weird because metal was a breaking of tradition. So it's breaking the tradition of the thing that it's breaking the tradition of. And I love it. I mean, I think Dyer's Eve is like one of my favorite like tracks from that album. The closing track, well, not the closing track, is the one right before that. "To Live Is to Die," which was an entire ballad for the death of Cliff Burton. And half of that song is just a slow, methodical riff. It's not a complex track, but it speaks something. It has that soul that people look for in music. You can feel the pain in that.
Now that we're talking about, now that you're so motivated talking about your favorite Metallica album, like you just, man, I felt your emotion there. Now I'm going to ask you a really complicated question. I want you to think it very, very clearly. Think it through. Take your time if you need to. What album do you consider, not a Metallica album, any album, do you consider that it's perfect from start to finish?
That's an easy one. That's a Vulgar Display of Power from Pantera.
Pantera. Man, love that group. Love the music. Heck, actually, did you know that Pantera was also in SpongeBob at one point?
I do, and I remember the episode that they did it in. I didn't know about it until years later, but oh man, it's so cool.
I think it was called Hibernation Day or
Pre-hibernation.
There you go. Yeah, and it had like the intros, like hard music, and you see the intro, and at the end it's like featuring special guest Pantera, and you're like, what's the metal
like,
group doing in a kids cartoon?
SpongeBob. These are underwater sea creatures. Why do they listen to Pantera?
Underwater sea? Are you stuck on underwater sea creatures? No, dude. This is for children. This is for kids. All of a sudden, you're throwing them like a really hardcore, like riffs, guitar riffs, hard drums, and you're like, I mean, it fits. It fits on, the fact that it's extreme. Like everything that's happening on screen is extreme. But like, really, a metal group as big as Pantera? Like, I think this was early SpongeBob. This was back when SpongeBob was just like starting out.
2001 or 2002.
Something along those lines. And I don't know. I mean, do you think like some kids probably listened to that and were like, whoa? Like they had like
maybe.
A revelation.
I guarantee if they had parents that knew anything about it and they were like, oh look, that's Pantera, I'm gonna show you. Debatable.
Man, could you like imagine like just some kid watching SpongeBob and the dad who happened to be like somebody very into rock and metal just listens to it. They're like, they put metal in kids' cartoons now? That's cool.
That's metal.
That's metal. Yeah. That's actually not that you mentioned it. Like, yeah, that's really metal. Putting metal on a kid's cartoon is metal. Man, like shit. What happened? What happened to us as a society? Why don't we do that more often? I feel have cartoons done that like fairly recently? I don't think they have. They need to do more of that.
What metal?
Like put like that sort of music on modern kids' cartoons. I feel like cartoons now don't take risks like that.
That's
that was
the
really
problem
cool.
right there. Cartoons don't take risks.
Man, where did we go wrong? We need more metal in life. Metal is just good. Metal is just like metal is revolutionary. One might think like, oh no, like, nah, man, we need more metal. Metal's just good. Oh man,
Yeah, for sure.
Now, let me get back my composure. Oof, talking about metal. Um, and your favorite tracks, your favorite music tracks. What would you say is an instrument or technique that you believe deserves more appreciation?
Honestly, I think for metal as a whole, I don't think the bass is utilized as much as I would hope for. I mean, you listen to music, especially modern metal now, bass is normally just used to double down on what a guitar could do. So it ends up just sounding like another part of the guitar. You can barely hear it. And I feel
Like
like
a
that's a missed
backing.
opportunity. Yeah, like backing. I want some complexity in my music. What's a good example? I'm trying to think of some. But Metallica, a great example. Especially in the early days and some of the stuff that Jason has done. Like I think the Black Album has a pretty good sound for the bass. For Whom the Bell Tolls opens up with an amazing bass section. And you wouldn't think that that's bass, but it is.
So you believe that bass needs more experimentation. I feel like the word should be experimentation to try out new things. Like not enough is being done.
Yeah. I think the bass could be utilized in a way that isn't just a mimicry of whatever else is going on. I feel like you can add its own riff to offset what's being done with the guitars or the drums. That's why it's the perfect medium. It's the medium in between those. It carries the music forth. It's a backing track, but it can be utilized just as well as the drum does, where you can pick out parts from the drum and be like, holy shit, that drummer is insane. Stuff that he's doing. Or, oh my God, this guitar is shredding. My ears are flying off of their head. I feel like the same thing could be done with the bass. It just needs to be utilized in a better way.
I believe so as well. I mean, I like me some complexity in my music. I want to feel it. I want to, be moved by it. And every instrument should be a part of it, should be essential, like some people, I mean, I'm surprised you mentioned bass because a lot of people don't give enough credit to bass. I mean, usually like they
That's
always
the
say like
reason
the
why I bring
bassist
it up.
the bassist is the guy that doesn't get the girl, like doesn't get the attention. It's always like, has to be there because it has to be there. But bass is just as an important part of a band as is the drummer, as is the guitarist, lead guitarist, rhythm guitarist, and the singer. Everyone serves a purpose.
I think an amazing thing to think about when you think about bass, right? And how well a bass can be utilized. Now, don't get me wrong, it's an extreme, but Primus that is an amazing thing to bring up for bass. Les Claypool alone has probably been more revolutionary for that instrument than a lot of other people. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of lead singers that can also play bass at the same time. Tom Araya does it. But I feel like Les Claypool has made the bass that kind of that distinction where it doesn't just have to be a backing instrument. It can be that main instrument. It can be the thing that you're looking at or listening to and be like, holy shit, that is insane.
I second that. Most def. You only been to one tribute concert, so you haven't seen any big live shows. But if you could pick a live show that you could go to, past or present, live for any metal band, what would it be?
If it was past or present, it'd be Pantera in an instant. I've seen the shows recorded and shit. I've never seen a crowd more up in arms and going fucking nuts. I've never seen a singer sing better than he does on an album. And he delivers every single time. And the best part is that all four of them are completely fucking wasted. They're drinking their hearts out.
Wait, they're drinking while performing? Like, did they have like bottles?
Phil Anselmo does that, yeah.
So quite literally, they have bottles on the stage and they drink them and they play. I need to see the picture of that. I need to look that up later.
So Tom Araya, or not Tom Araya, damn. The Slayer is also a big proponent of alcoholism, but that's mostly the fans, not them. Pantera is intertwined with alcohol. And I think a big proponent of that was Dimebag himself. I mean, he, from what you can see in interviews with Phil talking about Dimebag, I know he had an interview after he passed away, and he'd talk about how Dimebag would get up and he'd start his day. You need to get up. Everybody be hungover. Moment that they start pounding alcohol. Bam, play it perfectly. It didn't matter. They were machines. And I think that would make an amazing concert. And it seems like
that
a
does
lot
sound
of
like a
people have been
machine,
there.
beer-powered machine. They just play better when they're drunk. I don't get the logic, but it just works. Like, you don't question how it works. It just works. Beer equals good performance.
We're talking like whiskey. They were doing like hard liquor up on stage.
Oh my God, just keeps getting better and better. Not even beer. No, hard liquor.
Oh, yeah.
Man. So definitely Pantera. Okay, but which Pantera are we talking about? When? Like, I mean, it said past or present, but like any period specific or just like modern day?
Yeah, there is a period. I think right up when they released their live album, the 101 Proof live album. When they were doing that tour, their vocals were on like another level. Though I also have heard that whenever they came back to do the reinventing the steel, that album, I heard that they did a lot of shows that people still remember and are like, this is the best thing ever.
What do you think is a classic metal album that you believe that is still relevant decades later?
Surprisingly, it's not Pantera.
No.
I still think it's Master of Puppets.
Master Puppets from, is it 82,
Metallica.
83, 84? No, I know. I'm trying to remember the year.
86.
It came out. 86? Oh, I thought it was earlier.
Yeah.
So Master Puppets 86, you believe it is the quintessential metal album that even till this day, I mean, it's like the
It is
best
a timeless
classical
album, yeah.
metal. It is a timeless album.
I think that album alone, the fact that it's able to garner attention even so long, like nowadays, I know it garnered attention whenever it got featured in Stranger Things. And people were like, oh my God, this album is awesome. This song is awesome. That's a testament on its own, especially with today's tastes in music. The fact that people can go back and listen to that. Not to mention, the album itself has probably the most sonic sounding, it does, in my opinion, have the best sounding composition. I think the work that they did in the booth or in the engineering side of that album were kind of ahead of its time. They did a lot of stuff with that album. Now, it's not my favorite album, but I can't say that it's not influential. And it talks about a lot of things that people can still gravitate towards to today.
Do you think that metal can be more emotional than people give it credit for?
100%. I think metal on its own kind of goes into a lot of fields for different emotions. Now, I said earlier that I've been like super into aggressive stuff, right? That was I'm super into aggressive type music. But recently, I've been listening to a lot of slower stuff. I have a band as a recent called Unto Others. I've been listening to them since about 2021. And I've just been riding that off. I absolutely love them, but they're more gothic. It focuses more on sadness. And I feel like that's the point I'm trying to make is there's a genre of metal for every type of emotion. It's a very emotional genre that anybody can kind of get into and gravitate towards. You don't just have to listen to something that makes you angry. You don't have to listen to something that makes you sad. You can listen to something that makes you happy if you really want to. I'm sure there's something out there.
I mean, with any genre of music, there's going to be something for everybody. You know, I mean, that's why there's a saying that I'm gonna roughly translate into English, but it literally translates to, for tastes, we have different colors. Like, if you don't like something, there's like a bunch of other different colors available. You can find something that you really like. You know, you don't have to settle just for one thing. You can settle for what you like. And music tends to gravitate that way as well. There is plentiful of music genres for any single type of taste. And it's funny considering that now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember one time my own father once told me that he once met a man, and I wanna know your opinion on what this man once said. My dad once met a man that said, music was the worst thing that happened to humanity.
I wouldn't really know how to think about that. Because I think as long as humanity's been around, music has kind of permeated through that.
Music has been a part of human evolution.
Exactly.
It has been everywhere.
I mean,
it's
sure
part of our daily
cavemen have been-
life. Banging drums,
Yeah.
banging bones, trying to make, like noises and whatnot.
Yeah, banging on bones and stuff like that. I'm sure they've done that. Who knows?
Music brings joy to people. It brings certain comfort, certain feeling. It's there for everybody, and everybody has like their favorite music genre, favorite music track, favorite music album. Heck, maybe your favorite piece of of a musical track was composed all the way in the 1800s, but hey, it's there. You can listen to it. Like maybe you don't like what's happening now. Maybe you go back into the 80s or 90s. Heck, maybe your favorite music track might be Mozart. And that's totally fine because everybody's taste is different. But I mean, saying that music is inherently bad, I don't think it's inherently bad.
I don't think so at all. I think it's a good way to have everybody connect together.
I believe so as well. So, speaking of music and metal as a whole, as a tool to help other people, because I mean, I believe that music has been a part of human history and has helped people throughout the years. Has there been a song that has helped you at some point of your life during a difficult time?
Yeah. There's a couple, but I think a big standout would be the track "Hollow" from Pantera. Pantera comes right back up again. I think that's why I like him so much.
Totally fine. I can tell Pantera is your favorite group, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, hey, spread your love of Pantera to the world. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, but that track specifically, "Hollow," I was going through a pretty rough time. Whenever I had some stuff going on, and I don't know. I think that track specifically made me get over that emptiness. It made me understand myself a little bit more about the weight of my situation and what I can do to get out of it. And listening to that really helped.
And have you ever introduced somebody into the genre of metal yourself?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't say the genre of metal per se, but listening to more earlier metal, I guess, would be the right thing. One of my best friends, actually. I've gotten her into to metal a while back. I remember, I think it was Unto Others was that bridge, and I started spoon feeding her like Pantera and Slayer and all that, and I think she got me into Rob Zombie and White Zombie. I think White Zombie might have been my own doing, but I still got into some new stuff, and it's fun sharing music with people, especially that type of music, because not a lot of people listen to it or are willing to listen to it. And when you have that opportunity, it really gets you. It gets you in a good mood. It makes you feel like, what you're listening to is not devil's music. It's its own genre.
It really isn't. It really isn't, I mean, people like to call it that way because of how heavy it is, how, dark undertones that it might have, but it doesn't necessarily have to be all that bad. But people like to judge. I mean, it's in human nature. What can you do? I live in a country, for example, that metal and rock music as a whole is not listened by the vast majority of people. Other genres are preferred, especially like urban type music. So I had the blessing that thankfully my parents have, given me access to a lot of really cool music ever since I was a young kid. I still have CDs. I still have CDs from like bands from the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah.
And even, for example, my own father had a recent revelation back when we were at Disney World. We were Rock and Roll Coaster, Aerosmith. And while he was sitting outside waiting for us to like do the ride, he was just outside. And when we came out, he's like, I was listening to Aerosmith music all this time, and I can't believe they had like so many good tracks. Next thing I know, he added like a bunch of Aerosmith songs like into his playlist, and now it's like part of his daily commuter, just because they have like some good songs. The rock as a whole has some good songs that people don't give enough credit to, just because people don't give it a chance to listen to them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I unfortunately don't have access to live performances or big groups coming here where I live, because people don't listen to that type of music. I only go to tributes because that's what's widely available. VR, thankfully, has been a good advent to being able to at least get the feeling of going to such concerts in a big scope. I don't know if you've ever been to a VR concert here related to rock or any sort of live performance. You haven't?
No.
I haven't had the experience.
I wouldn't even know how that would work. Is it
People have done it. It's not an uncommon thing.
I'm trying to think of like how it would work though. Is it like people playing instruments through their microphones and then they just try to sync it up with each other?
Oh yeah.
That sounds it sounds interesting. I didn't know that was like definitively a thing. I mean, it sounds like it would be, and I believe
I've seen performances, at least on YouTube, at Ferality, for example. There was a performance by Whispers, which is a furry guitarist / performer, and some others. So it's not an uncommon thing. But for example, I want you, from your fresh perspective, like if you could like build up like a live performance here in VR, like do you think, what group would you like to see in VR, and do you think it would work? Exactly. Do you think that doing a performance here in VR, a platform that allows to unite many different people from different parts of the world who may not have access to such performances, do you think something like that would be tremendous?
I think it could work. I think if I had to pick a band, it'd probably be Unto Others. Just because I think a lot of their music would hit home, especially with people that are on VR chat. Now for the tremendous scope of it, I'm not exactly sure. But that's mainly because I think the game is a little dying, just a tiny bit. It's mainly the same people now. Not a lot of new people are getting on VR chat.
But do you still believe that something that you would you like to see something like that? Would you like to
I would
see
love to see
metal,
something like that.
metal? Would you love to see that same atmosphere you experience at TFF? All of that mosh pitting, everybody maybe on a grander scale. Would you like to see that?
Maybe not mosh pitting. I feel like mosh pitting, like for me at least, I'd be fine seeing it. I wouldn't do it. I feel like mosh pitting you can't really get anywhere else but IRL. That's its own kind of beast on its own. I feel like if you can't physically go out and tackle somebody, I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose of a mosh.
Maybe we add physics, so whenever you push somebody, the character would just fly off.
Get everybody hooked up with
we turn into a giant pinball machine.
Sensors.
Yeah, we turn into a giant pinball machine. Everybody just like flying.
The pinball machine. Is that what we're doing now? That's VR chat too. Just shove everybody in a pinball machine.
No, like bouncing around like they're in a pinball machine. You see everybody flying. Would that be a better interpretation of a VR mosh pit? So you could actually like feel like you're pushing people away, seeing them flying off.
Watching their avatars, like you just like push them a certain way, and then they go. Whew. Yeah, no, that'd be kind of funny.
I'm gonna ask you this question because my editor will not stop bothering me about it.
Yeah.
You metal person. What do you think of Brutal Legend?
The game for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation?
With Jack Black.
That's the one with the Jack Black, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that game's so fucking good. All right, so I grew up on Brutal Legend whenever I was like, oh my god, like 10 or 11?
The game came out like almost 16 years ago.
Yeah, it was a bit, oh shit. Was it really that long ago?
Yeah, like the 2010s.
I just remember really, really liking it. They had this really cool thing in the game where you could censor the game or you could not.
Oh yeah.
They had a little bit of funny, wacky dialogue at the beginning of it.
Oh yeah. Like no, they gave you the option. It was like either like, do you want to hear every single naughty word, or do you want to beep it because it's gonna sound funnier? Like that's how they frame it. It's like
yeah.
You want the raw thing, or you want to beep it because it's funny? Because it's funny. At the end of the day. But yeah. I mean, they had some pretty big names attached to it. Like if you start looking at the cast, Lemmy Kilmister's in it. It's just
Lemmy is in it. I remember Lemmy. Ozzy Osbourne.
No. The Guardian of Metal. No. You gotta say it the way it is, because when you first see him, it's like it's about fucking time. Like, oh me, I'm nobody. Oh, I'm just the Guardian of Metal. He made it sound so. And I want to say angelical, but it's metal, so it's not really angelical. It's like glorious. Every single word that he said, and he said it in such a way that was so convincing. Like these guys are not actors; they're just musicians. But most of them like pull it off in such a way that just like, oh man. I mean, I have Brutal Legend. Sure. My editor loves Brutal Legend. Like he plays that game every single time he has a chance to, because it's a good game and probably a really good gateway for a lot of people to metal, music in general.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember playing it. I think it was my dad's PlayStation, if I remember correctly. Might have been my brother's. I'm not exactly sure on that one, but it was a while ago, and I really, really digged it. There was so many different like play styles, and like they had so many different things going on.
That game was a handful. It did like a lot of different genres at the same
It
time. You got
did, yeah.
racing, you had beat 'em up, you had roll RTS, I think. Controlling forces.
They had
It was all over the top.
tactical.
It was all over the top.
Yeah.
But the humor and the story was great. Like it's Double Fine. They did Psychonauts. They knew what they were doing. But like we need a Brutal Legend 2. I feel like we need the revival. We need some.
It
We need
sounds
it
like
brought back.
something that Jack Black would totally do. That sounds
Jack
like something
Black
he would
wasn't
100%
big
do.
then. He was. I mean, he was a well-known
He
actor
was
back
pretty
then.
big.
But
He was
yeah,
pretty
but
big
he's
at the
he's
time.
not like current Jack Black. Current Jack Black, if he like goes up to like some big hotshot, be like, "I want to make Brutal Legend 2," people would be like, "Yes, yes, Jack Black, yes, have some money, have some money." Like I feel like he has more influence to push something like that forward now, if he wants to. I mean, I hope he wants to. If you're listening to this, Jack Black, again, hi, and give us Brutal Legend 2.
I would say the exact same thing, but I honestly think that Jack Black has got Minecraft. He's got Minecraft on the mind.
Oh no, don't say that. No, we don't need Minecraft.
You know it's true. You know it's true. Jablinski Games is back. Jablinski Games is back. He's back in action.
One last question about music before we go into a little talk about VR as a whole. What's a band you believe everyone should give a second chance? A band that's underrated.
Does an era work?
Huh?
Does an era of a band work?
Okay, an era of a band. Go for it.
90s Metallica.
90s Metallica? Do you think that
90s
people
Metallica.
don't think too much about it? Do you think that people focus more on the 80s Metallica than the 90s?
100%. If they're talking about Metallica, it's going to be the 80s. A lot of old heads, they think that Metallica sold out as soon as it got to the 90s. That's neither here nor there. But in my opinion, I think that hard rock attitude that they had in the 90s was monumental on its own. They managed to shift all of what was going on around them, that major shift in what people were listening to, and they flew with flying colors. Around that time, people loved the Load and Reload albums. A lot of people were saying that, these are financially stable, they're good albums. Now you talk about them now, and not a lot of people want to bring them up, or they don't give them a listen. They don't.
Actually, 90s Metallica actually gave us a really good piece of music that you're probably gonna be like, oh yeah, that's like one of the best 90s Metallica songs, which was "Give Me Fuel, Give Me Fire, Give Me That Which You Desire."
Fuel?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't like Fuel?
Is good. No. I like Fuel. I don't think it's one of the best. I think it's a very, very good track for getting people amped up, right? It's a very good concert track. That's how you get people like fucking jumping up for joy. And that's how you start a mosh pit.
What else do you want from a metal track?
From metal track. Right. Metal track. But I think in that era, by far their best piece of work from those two albums is a track called Bleeding Me off of the Load album. I've never heard something more complex in the way it's built. A lot of the 90s tracks are very simplistic. They don't have a lot going, and they're very slow and somber. Now, don't get me wrong. Bleeding Me is a slow track, but you can feel a lot of weight in that song. And James ends up singing pretty different to how he normally does. He's hitting like high notes. We're talking stuff like tenor level stuff. He's like baritone. He's not normally singing that type of stuff. And it doesn't have any of that grunge. It's very soft. There's a lot of emotion in that track. And I think a lot of people look over the tracks from those albums because they're not metal from Metallica, right? They see Metallica, they see, oh, that's the metal band that plays metal, not the metal band that plays hard rock.
Valid, valid. Well, I want to get into VR because, I mean, we're a bit on crunch time. So, I want to know what got you in VR in the first place. I want to know your VR story. Why are you here right now? What was the thing got you a headset?
Let's see. Well, this entire thing started because I had a gaming laptop in like 2021 or so. And I played on desktop originally. And I thought it was pretty neat. I had met somebody that was a friend for a decent while. And they convinced me to get a headset. So I hopped on. And a lot of what I strove for whenever I got this headset, I'm still running the exact same headset, by the way, is talking to people, being more personal, being more personable, I should say. You can look at people, you can turn your head and do that, and do all sorts of wacky, funny things with your hands. You can kind of convey your message a little bit better, and it gets people talking. I think that's the reason why I really wanted to get one, was so I could talk to people better. I was a pretty awkward person before I started talking on VR, and now I go out of my way to try to find people. I go out of my way to try to talk to people. And that bleeds over into my real life experiences as well, probably more so than this game. I think it's kind of flip-flopped a little bit, where I'm getting better talking to people out of game than I am in game a little bit. But yeah.
But that's a positive. You know, using VR as a tool to help you develop social skills and become a better member of society, getting yourself to open up better to others. I feel like that's a plus.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a plus. It makes you feel like that fear of what people are going to think about you can't really translate all that well whenever you're behind a screen. Yeah, they can hear you. Yeah, they can see your hands moving and stuff like that. But it's easier to mess up and not feel like you've ruined everything. And that was a big fear for me. So doing this has kind of alleviated pretty much all of that. I can kind of visualize what I need to say. And if I do something that, people don't like, I kind of just say, fuck it. I live my life the way I want to. And I'm not going to bend to anybody's, ruling on what I need to like or what I need to act like. I'm fucking rowdy. I don't give a shit. I got a fucking sailor's mouth.
Both in here and out there.
Oh, yeah.
And what about, for example, how you represent yourself here in the VR space? I mean, you are a member of the furry community. Something that some people, don't like to really specify outside in the, in the line of work or the people around them. But in here, people can be a little bit more open about that. What's your story with that?
Ooh. So in here, I don't care if I'm a furry. I will obviously make that well known. Out in the real world, I'm not privy to telling people that. It's not something I really want to open up. It's like that can of worms. I mean, my family knows. They're chill with it. I go to conventions, plenty of them. I love doing it. But I feel like if I'm doing stuff IRL, the people I'm going to tell that I'm a furry to are either going to be close family or people that I already know are furries.
Or close friends.
Or close friends, yeah.
It is totally understandable. I mean, everybody, chooses exactly who to tell it to. Not exactly something one should be entirely open about it. I clearly
Yeah,
understand.
you don't want to go up to some random like 6-year-old woman on the side of the street and say, "Hi, I'm a VR chat furry." What are they going to do? They're gonna freak the fuck out. They're gonna fucking run away.
Yeah, to be like that. Oh heck. But some people. I mean, I mostly just wanted to inquire. Some people have become furries because of VR chat. They have been in the past, since childhood. Everybody has a different story of why they decide to, identify the way they do, way of self-expression, or maybe like, oh, I'm this species or race, and I dress this way because I can't dress this way in real life, or is a reflection of who I am really. It really depends. Every single person is different. Every single person has its thing. Now,
Yeah.
we're unfortunately running out of time, so I'm gonna leave it off with just two final questions. That hopefully just to close the chapter with music and VR. Starting with music. If someone listening to this podcast has never explored rock or metal before, what's the one album you would hand them, and what do you hope they hear in it?
What did I hope they hear in it? Do you mean like a track, or do you mean like a certain sound?
what would you give them, and what should they expect?
Master Puppets. I give them Master Puppets, and I would expect them to hear the complexity. What goes into metal? It's not just something that you get and it's face shredding, and it's like, this is unlistenable. This isn't simple at all. I want people to be looking at that stuff and be like, there's so many layers. I didn't know there could be that many layers in music. That's what I hope for.
And finally, the question we ask every single of our guests here at the Pier. This is a VR podcast at the end of the day. We want people to look at this. This is for not only the people that already are into VR, but also for the people who are, looking from the outside in, and still, hesitating whether to get a VR headset or not. They're still questioning whether it's a good investment or not. They're still dubious. If you could talk to that person who still has a doubt in their mind whether to get VR, what would you tell them?
I would tell them the best thing you can do is just go for an Oculus. You don't even need to play VR chat. You can do like Instagram or whatever on it if you really want to do that. I don't know. Don't spend $1,000. That's stupid. Don't be a dumbass. You spend $1,000 on a headset right off the rip, you're making a mistake. You don't know whether or not you're going to like that shit. Buy a $200, $300 headset. You'll be fine.
Well, mighty piece of advice. Yeah, don't spend too much money in VR. Yeah, definitely go for a cheap one. Again, thank you, Dendark, for coming here to the Pier with us, and to our lovely audience. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Pier-to-Pier Podcast, where we bring those who reside within these virtual worlds to share the stories and knowledge that they carry. May you have a wonderful rest of your day.